All right, good morning, Austin New Church. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for being here. If you would, come in, find a seat, get comfortable. We're going to sing a couple of songs, but if you would, gotta take a deep breath, roll your shoulders back. Happy Mother's Day, or I feel like we got lots of tea on Mother's Day in this room, so it's a good day. So most of you are incredible mothers or trying. It's a good day for that. I love it. So take a deep breath. Let's hold that today and sing a little bit.
Pray over us.
Let's pray a little. Come on.
Mother God, we just ask you to wrap your arms around this room right now. Whether you come in joyful and happy and in a good relationship with your mom, or if you didn't have a good mom or didn't have a mom, God, we just ask you to be with those people that wish that they were moms and desire that they are moms. However this complicated relationship looks like, God, will you mother us? Will you hold us in this space? You see us. You love us and nurture us, and thank you for that. So we ask you, we just bring it, and we just want to feel your embrace today, however you come. Amen. Your eyes have never seen, your ears have never heard, and your whole mind cannot conceive. Your little heart will never quite learn the dimensions of my love. The dimensions of my love. So wipe the tears away from your eyes and drive the fear away from your mind. You have no idea how safe you really are. Believe me when I say it's true, I am coming back for you. Maybe if you only knew how soon your eyes have never seen, and your ears have never heard. Oh, your mind cannot conceive. Your little heart will never quite know the dimensions of my love. The dimensions of my love.
dimensions of my love. The dimensions of my love. So wipe the tears away from your eyes and dry fears away from your mind. You have no idea how safe you really are. Believe me when I say it's true, I am coming back for you. Maybe if you only knew how soon, how soon. Well, I know the things you said isn't really what you meant to say the other night, and that's okay. And I know you're chasing sleep, but it always seems to get away. It makes you crazy, and that's okay. There's room, there's room, there's room, there's room, there's room, there's room. Some days I live in fear that I'll be the one who let you down, to disappoint you and turn around. When I feel the waves come to take my breath away, you come and find me, and you remind me there's room. You just the way you are. I'll take you just the way you are. I'll take you just the way you are. I'll take you just the way you There's room, I love it. I wanted to read a little something that I wrote just for Mother's Day. So if you would, close your eyes. Nothing crazy. But take a minute to breathe in this day. What brought you here? What you need from this place. And breathe out what you need to leave behind from this week, or this month, or the last decade of crazy. And breathe in something you're grateful for, a small victory or a large one. New life, new friends, donuts, a hug that lasts just long enough. This is Mother's Day. And whether you have a great one or had a great one, or have been adopted by the great ones in this room, we can breathe in their love and then exhale all they've given or taken away. We're all knit together in this room. We were all knit together in someone's womb. The cells coming together like the tiny, invisible strings that hold this community together. There is a joy when new life bursts forth, but a sadness at the leaving. The connection so visceral and immediate before now requires consent and care. But what wonder is in the wandering, the trying, and the seeking. Now open your eyes. Breathe in and out one more deep breath. And look around as awkwardly as possible. Make sure you get real wide eyes. That's the way. There is so much giving in this room, but there is also need. And it takes 100 times the vulnerability to ask than to give. But that's the price of a village. That's the price of community. To ask sometimes more than you can hope to return. This place is not built on bartering or credit, but love freely given out of the abundance of our heart. And that is Mother's Day, recognizing an infinitely flowing spring of love and acceptance and mercy and kindness. But to hold infinite love is also to feel infinite grief for yourself, for your family, for your friends, for your community, and the whole world. So can you close your eyes one more time? And cast your connecting web first to yourself for a body that hopefully works at least most of the time. Then cast the web of love to those around you. Then to this sanctuary. And let that be enough for now. Hold this space for now. The world can wait until we walk outside at least. Now breathe again. Open your eyes. And maybe find somebody to hug, whatever that hug just long enough is. And thanks for being here today.
Don't yell at me, Mark. Hi, I'm Amy. I'm going to go through the announcements with you guys. After Mark's beautiful writing, can we give him another round of applause? It was stunning. And I'm writing the benediction today. Okay, wow, way to show me up. Before I even got a chance. Wow, yeah, I'm going to. I've got to. Okay, great. So this is our, by the way, I'm Amy. Nice to meet you if I haven't met you. This is our info card. please scan this QR code. You can get to know us a little bit better, fill out this card. And then this next slide is about giving. So thanks for your continued generosity in giving. You can donate anytime using this QR code. There's not a QR code, but you can go to austennewchurch.com/home/give and just put it on a recurring basis. That's what I do. I don't even think about it. Okay. Also, all of these announcements are in our weekly email or the upcoming events page on our website. So you can find more info, including the signups there and like all of the QR codes and things. Okay. No virtual foyer this week. Tune back in 2 weeks for the next virtual foyer after service. And then we also won't be having Artist's Way today because it's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. We will meet next week, and we'll be trying our hand at printmaking with gel plates. Yay, that sounds exciting. Okay, another fun thing, Beach Week. Students grades 6 through 12 register now in all caps. It literally is in all caps for Beach Week, which is ANC's amazing, another all caps, version of summer camp happening June 10th through the 14th. Think condos in Port A instead of stuffy, unair-conditioned cabins. Okay, I like the edit this week. Last week it was you're in unair-conditioned cabins. It's not, it's air-conditioned. It's the best time, don't want to miss it. And on that note, they're looking for volunteers who either love to cook or who love to shop. Also, like if you love to cook, call me also. I need one of those. Please. They need pre-made dinners to take to the beach, as well as groceries for breakfast, lunch, and snacks. If you can help with this, please email Melinda@austennewchurch.com. Cool. Next is Prime Dinner. I'm a fidgeter. I'm a wiggler. Jason makes fun of me all the time for this, so I'm sorry I'm doing this. Okay, Austin Prime, ANC Prime. Prime Dinner on Saturday, May 16th at 6:30 p.m. That is this Saturday coming up. If you're in the age or life stage of 50 plus, join the next Prime Dinner at Greg and Shane's with a Caribbean theme. Cue the Caribbean music. Who's on it? No? Okay. Next up is our opening. Thank you, Mark. Deeply impressed by that on the fly. Open mic night on Sunday, May 17th at 5 p.m. Sing a song, read a poem. If you want to, now that Mark has intimidated everyone in this room from writing, perform some stand-up. We'll head across the street after for a bite to eat. So sign up with Mark. Points to Mark. That was not in the writing. Or go to our upcoming events page that I talked about earlier, so that he knows how many acts to plan for. Okay, cool. Summer party potluck. Say that 10 times fast. Sunday, May 31st, after service. Bring a dish to share. Join us to celebrate the beginning of summer. Oh my God, it's already summer. Excuse me, oh my gosh. Probably, yes, definitely including karaoke. It'll also be a family Sunday that week, so all of the children will be here. And then last but not least, donut volunteers. We love the donuts, you love the donuts. We need more donuts. If you're looking for a way to get involved, the hospitality team is needing more folks to bring coffee and donuts on Sunday morning. And then you can also just donate if you want to, and then someone else will bring them for you. So email Tara. That's your point person here, is Tara. And that's it. I'm not going to make you greet anybody. We're just going to go right into it. So thank you for listening to my spiel.
Good job. These steps are not to be trusted. I've mentioned that to the folks at the 04 Center, but we're going to get them replaced. Sorry, guys. Need my gear here. Kind of a interesting, weighty sense in the room today, is it not? So you guys blew the average. This is supposed to be the third most attended church service of the year, Mother's Day. Look around. Apparently some people opted to go outside for the lovely weather today, but I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad to be here, glad to be back. We were away for a couple of weeks. My name is Jason, by the way. 2 weeks ago, we heard from Sue, who's back from Crete. Ask her stories about that. You don't go that far and not want to tell stories about it. And then last week, of course, we heard from Stan, which is always a blessing. We like a variety of voices around here, and it occurs to me to mention that Sam Beach is coming back in a couple weeks to speak to us. Anybody remember Sam Beach? There's 3 of us. So this totally new person who you'll have to trust us is super cool is coming back in early June. Also, happy Mother's Day to one and all, whatever that means to you. I found myself telling Charles at the door, happy Mother's Day, because if you give birth to things and nurture things and take care of stuff, you're mothering in some way. Can we broaden it out that far? That means, men, you're going to have to check in. Don't shop the Home Depot list for your day that's coming up in a month while we sit in Mother's Day church service. Pay attention, because I think gender binaries and categories actually don't really help us understand an awful lot. So happy Mother's Day to one and all. And if you know me, you know that I don't often preach on Mother's Day, and there's a few reasons for that I can name, and probably a few that I can't quite name yet. For starters, the obvious, I'm not a mother, at least conventionally defined. Also, my relationship with my mother, unlike yours, of course, mine's complicated. I hope she's not watching. Or maybe part of me hopes she is. But I know better. She's planting stuff in her garden, from what I'm told. Father's Day is a little bit easier than Mother's Day, actually, and I will often find speakers for both of those days. But Father's Day is a little easier. For starters, I am one, but also because my father passed away 11 years ago now, and once they're gone, it's easier to make peace with their lives, isn't it? It's easier to sort of figure that out, no matter what they were or what they were not. And mine wasn't everything in the world, and he wasn't the best or the worst of anything, but death somehow brings a form of closure that can be a significant component of healing, and I find myself very much at ease on Father's Day. But it's different when the parent is still alive, isn't it? If things aren't ideal with your mother on Mother's Day, they could still improve. At least there's always hope. Once they've passed, nothing else can be done, and the only work you can do is reorder your memories and restack your thoughts and realign your stories, and that's all work that you get to do, but that's not true when they're still alive. Friends, there's a weird form of grief required to navigate a relationship with a parent who is alive, but from whom you are estranged. That's my story. It's like death minus the closure. It's like burying something without actually having a body to bury. And if that feels like a downer on this day, your happiest day of all, because you're a mom and everyone's gathered and everything's great, if that feels like a downer for you on this day, trust me, I'm naming something real for many of us in this room. The challenge on Mother's Day, at least at this stage in my life, is to hold in my body all of the different things that it means at the same time without needing to dissolve any of that into a single, simple emotion in order for me to feel at ease. It's a lot to hold. There's a lot to let be. Truth is, friends, I feel a little bit see-through as a preacher on days like today. I'd rather be led than lead on Mother's Day, frankly, because there's so much work to do on my relationship with my mother, who, for the record, I love very, very much. But she's also a woman who believes that her primary allegiance is not to herself and not to her children, but to her second husband, who has proven to be cruel and unsafe over and over and over again since 1978. It's a long story, one that I won't bore you with, but in my mother's mind, her biblical mandate is to back her husband even when he's dead wrong. Okay, so this occurs to me, this is a really heavy sermon. Hang on. And by wrong, friends, I don't mean that he doesn't agree with me. I don't care about that. I really don't. He has no obligation to agree with me about anything. Like everyone else, just like you, he gets to have his own opinion about things, even about whether I'm leading a group of people to hell, and those are his words. But what I mean when I say he's dead wrong is simply that he thinks his opinion is binding on me simply because he's married to my mom. Friends, it's not, and it would be unnatural if it were. His views on Scripture haven't been binding on me or even interesting since about 1990 when I began my own education. But he somehow seems unable to accept that. His opinions of my theology and the church I pastor don't need to be a perfect match for us to be in good relationship. We both can choose to remain present and committed regardless. Even if we never agree on the Bible or whether queer people belong or whether or not girls get to preach, it doesn't really matter, friends. At least it shouldn't. He's dead wrong because he thinks agreement is the only binding matrix for a parent-child relationship. And my mom has chosen to sacrifice a relationship with her flesh and blood because her second husband insists that my theology isn't a close enough facsimile of his. Parents, you know better than that, and I'm speaking to all parents now. Total agreement is not the foundation for relationship. Love is. Commitment is. No one agrees with their parents on everything. Love and respect still can be possible. They can still grow and thrive. Please remember that as your kids grow older and find their own way in the world. Hear me now. This is underlined. Thank you for your attention to that matter. That's a joke. If ever your theology comes to matter more to you than your family, you're wrong. You're holding it wrong. I don't care how scriptural it is, or how Christian it may be, or how right you may think it is. It's wrong if it's killing good people in your life. Can anyone in this room agree with that? Friends, that's how I see it, and I'm so tired of softening that to keep from upsetting people. I'm too old for that. Hear me, friends. Hate is wrong. Exclusivism is wrong. Shunning a child because of a theological difference is just wrong. And blaming a child for withdrawing from a relationship when you've been the aggressor, you've spewed the uninvited judgment, you've done the violence for nearly 50 years, friends, that's just wrong. Besides, unanimity, which many people think that they want, it's just a mirage. Friends, you don't even agree with yourself all the time. And if you ask me how I know, I sit at coffee and listen to you say things that you don't even believe. Unanimity of belief is nothing, friends. It's a mirage. The more you chase it, the further it goes. The bottom line is this: relationships can survive, even thrive, without unanimous agreement. So never opt for being right if it means the death of relationship, especially with a child. It's not worth it. It just isn't. So yeah, Mother's Day is tough for me, as you can see. My wife says, "Why are you wearing a black jacket? It's Mother's Day." I'm like, "Because it's Mother's Day." Because mine lives, and I think of her daily. And I want to text her the things that remind me of her. All things music, all things turquoise, all things desert Southwest, all things creativity and poetry and beauty and the ability to laugh and play. Those all come from her. And I want to share that with her. I want to mutually acknowledge that transfer with her. But friends, the reality is I'm dead to her now because I no longer roll over when her husband needs to tell me what he thinks of me. But I try not to lose hope, and I would encourage you to do the same. If a key relationship in your life seems dead, don't count it out for good. Friends, new life can grow in ashes. It happens all the time. It just so happens that ashes are an amazing boost for new life. Always leave the door cracked enough for redemption to leak in. Keep whatever boundaries you actually need to be safe, but never give up hope for a breakthrough. Not boundaries for the sake of drama, guys. Now, I'm not talking about that. I see a lot of people saying putting up boundaries. No, you're lighting up flares is what you're doing. Boundaries you actually need to actually be safe. Put those up and respect those, but never give up hope for a breakthrough. Now you know why I'd rather celebrate the second Sunday of May with silence and contemplation more than with sermons. I'm only speaking autobiographically because my lips are moving. That's how you might know that. If what I've said makes you feel like it's a burden, I just would say, just set it down. It's my story. I only offer you the contours of my story because it may help you name what you're feeling today. And when you hear it named by someone that you perhaps know and trust, perhaps it'll help you feel a little bit less crazy, a little bit less at fault, a little bit less perhaps conflicted with the own complexity of the day. One last thought before we move on, and it isn't an intro unless it's 5 pages because that's what Jay Friels tells me. One last thought before we move on. Estrangement from living parents is common among progressive folks like us. After all, to be progressive implies that there are things that we've unbelieved, things that we've progressed beyond. Friends, progressivism implies that there are formerly binding conclusions that we have collectively survived the unraveling of. We know that there are old ways of being in the world that we can no longer accept, so we've torn them down and we've built new things, and we're thriving because of it. Emotional estrangement is not uncommon among people like us. If this is true for you and you feel lonely and thin today, find community and lean in. Christy Maitens had organized something at her house and nobody responded to. Perhaps it just wasn't the right year, but we were going to call it a soft landing for anyone who just needed to fade into the fabric of community on a day like today. Don't do this work alone, friends. Lean into others. And don't argue with your intense feelings today. This sounds so advicey. Who approved this sermon? I'm starting to feel like there was some Hegseth up in here or something going on. That's supposed to be funny. Not very funny. But don't argue with your intense feelings today. Let this day be happy and sad. Let it be full of gratitude and regret. Let it be what it needs to be. Trust your heart today. Give your head the day off. Tell it to go to the beach or something else. Don't compress or simplify your feelings today. Let this day be as complex as it needs to be. Does that sound like good advice? Maybe. I think it is. It turns out, friends, our brain is equipped to handle binaries and categories far better than complexities. But navigating complexity is the goal of adulthood, is it not? You see, adolescents think that they feel safer surrounded by binaries, certainties, but life produces, so few of those. Maturity allows us to carry two things at once, which is why Mother's Day, falling right in the middle of the great 50 days, or what we call Eastertide, is it's so apropos. It's actually kind of neat how this all works. Because now is when the church is learning to get better at holding on to paradoxes, friend, without needing to dissolve them to be at ease. Remember, fear was the problem that the disciples had between the resurrection and Pentecost. They were terrified. So to be at ease, they're having to learn how to handle the paradoxes. We're making sense of life and death and hopes and disappointments, and a Jesus who is still among us, but not like before. We're learning not to default to an overly simplistic habit of categorizing things as either good or bad, as divine or mundane. The disciples of Jesus struggled with this very same thing. Today's story comes to us from the 14th chapter of the book of John. Let's take a look. I'll read it and chunk it and explain it, and then maybe at the end, if I feel gutsy enough, I'll offer you my paraphrasing from the Greek of what it should sound like. But it reads like this. This is, of course, Jesus speaking to the disciples. Do not let your hearts be troubled, he says. Believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and will take you to myself, so that where I am, there you will be also. And you know the way to the place where I am going, he says in verse 4. Now, this and what follows is a strange and fitful exchange between Jesus and his closest friends. It all has the awkward energy of a leader trying to alert his loved ones of impending loss and pending danger, while they keep getting shipwrecked on the metaphors he's using, and he's using several. John 14 through 17 is awkward stuff. It's like watching a group of terrified people all have different conversations at the same time. Now, there's no crowds involved here, no onlooking Pharisees or antagonists or people in need of healing. This middle section of the book of John is very much an internally focused conversation. And it's for the close friends of Jesus. He's preparing them for something, and it's apparent to me and it's apparent to us because we see it through history, something that's right around the corner now. Within 24 hours, this is all going to begin to happen. So if you read the previous chapter of John, you'd find his version of the Last Supper, where Jesus pressed his final lessons on those who were still with him. And of course, we find ourselves in a different chronological spot. We're in the great 50 days, a little bit later, between the resurrection and the Pentecost, but the lesson remains the same. Allowing something to be dead to live again in new ways, or you could say, allowing something to exist in multiple planes or multiple phases at once. Friends, and this won't be easy, which is why John dedicates more of his book to post-resurrection apparitions than he does to the very miracles that Jesus performed. Anyway, now the exchange that follows is going to feel like a conversation about heaven, and perhaps that's what your Baptist summer Texas youth camp preacher taught you, but it isn't. This is not a conversation about heaven. In fact, punching your ticket to heaven was never a real religious obsession of first century Jews. It still isn't today. They were praying and waiting for liberation right now. Their concerns didn't focus on heaven or hell like ours tend to in the post-Billy Graham 21st century empire of America. No, they wanted restoration of a political and religious dominance that they had enjoyed only a few generations prior before Jesus comes onto the scene. So keep that in mind as we read. This is not about heaven and hell. Verse 5, Thomas, the bus designer, I figured one of you would know that. Thomas, not the bus designer, the disciple, said to him, Lord, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way? Jesus says to him, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you know me, you will also know my Father. From now on, you do know him and you have seen him. And it's this certainty that he seems to be telling them, you know how this works. Don't get stuck. You know what comes next. He was so convinced that they'd been paying attention. He was sure that they knew the way, but friends, they didn't. I'm guessing the metaphor of a father's house distracted Jesus' friends because it seems to me that they interpreted him literally. And Jesus is not speaking of some celestial home in the sky, as some would go on to quip and describe. By home, I think Jesus is describing a place of peace and ease, a place of protection and provision. Remember, fear was their issue as it remains today for us. Jesus is saying, I'm going ahead of you guys, and you will all follow in time. But you see, Thomas, the plain-spoken one, wants a map to the precise location, so they'll be able to find Jesus should they get separated in the next few days. But Jesus is describing death and resurrection, not heaven. Thomas, the beloved skeptic of the bunch, says plainly, we'll never be able to find you if we don't know where you're going, to which Jesus responds, I am the way, it's true, this is the life you desperately seek. And the only way to get to God is through touching the full integration of the material and divine realms. Now, see if you can catch this. This is the heart of all mystic religion, friends. It's not just Christian. This is what all great mystics are going to want to try to convince you of in some way or another. It's the full integration of the material and the divine realms. Now, not something left over for in heaven when you die and God finds your file and finds that it isn't read, marked reject, right? No, now is what Jesus is saying. And this came up in a conversation this week at Radio Coffee. What do we mean when we say Jesus? What are we claiming was so unique about this one particular man? What are we actually describing when we say Jesus is the way to life and to truth? I hope you're interested, because here's my answer. When we say Jesus, we mean a single human body in which divine and earthly life commingles and co-dwells. That's how I describe Jesus. That's how I describe you, and that's how I describe me. Now, if you went to a Baptist Bible college, you should be feeling really itchy right now, because you were probably trained to feel most safe in spaces where God was kept separate from the material world, friends. But Jesus is saying, if you want access to the Father, it's through this. How in the world can we make sense of that? But we will also have to affirm that the way to this integrated life that I'm describing, that Jesus is describing, is going to be through laying it down, through suffering and loss and pain. That's where we all get off the bus, isn't it? Jesus is making it crystal clear to his friends that the only way to transcend is to release and relinquish. The only way to new life is going to be through death. Thomas inquires about the place Jesus keeps referring to, because if they at least knew the place, they could always find a map to route it. Sensing the dead end of this sort of way of forming the question, though, right in the backdrop is a man called Philip. He tries his hand at clarifying the question. Now watch this, verse 8. Philip said to him, okay, Lord, just show us the Father and we'll be satisfied. See, Thomas wants a roadmap, to which Jesus responds, I am the map. So Philip decides to simplify things a bit more. Forget about you, Jesus. Just show us God, please. Oh, but that's the point, isn't it? Everyone wants heavenly answers. Everyone wants to know about transcendent things. Everyone wants to daydream about divinity and things beyond this life. But Jesus always directs the conversation back to soil and seed and human flesh. That's the whole gospel in a takeout bag in case you're hungry today. Anyway, reading on, verse 9, Jesus said to him, have I been with you all this time, Philip, and you still do not know me? Whoever has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, show us the Father? Do you not believe that I am in the Father and the Father is in me? The words that I say to you, I do not speak on my own, but the Father who dwells in me does his works. Verse 11, believe me that I am in the Father and the Father is in me. But if you do not, if that's too hard for you, then believe because of the works themselves. Very truly, I tell you, the one who believes in me will also do the works that I do. What is he talking about? He's talking about feeding the poor and dissolving differences in society and disassembling systems of injustice. That's what he's talking about. If you can't see how this is God, how this is divine, look at the suffering we're alleviating in this little JesusHChrist.com boom. It's not that hard. If you can't see it, look at what we've done. Blind people can now see. People who could not now can walk. He's dealing with Philip who's stuck. Very truly, I tell you, the one who believes in me will also do the works that I do. In fact, will do greater works than these because I'm going to the Father. You see, he's not talking about the separation of anything. He's talking about the continuum that crosses both sides of death. I'm going to the Father, he says. Verse 13, I'll do whatever you ask in my name so that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If in my name you ask me anything, I will do it. Okay, so what do we make of all of this? Especially on a Mother's Day. The thought I want us to sit with is simply this. It's hard to imagine how a single thing can be more than one thing at a time, isn't it? In the case of the friends of Jesus, they're literally they're being asked to understand how God the Father and all that history that they knew was somehow the same as their friend Jesus, who they'd known for a couple of years. They were one and the same, Jesus is suggesting. How can this be? And they didn't get it, friends, at least not immediately. And don't mock them for missing the idea, friends. This would go on to be the enduring enigma of the ages. We still can't quite make sense of this paradox. God and flesh mutually creating one another. They didn't get it, and neither did the first century church as they wrote about it, nor did they get it in the second, and they didn't get it in the third, although some would claim that the third century at least gave us the Nicene Creed, where the church fathers attempted to resolve this conflict about the nature of Jesus once and for all, but it didn't. It didn't work. Neither did the Chalcedonian Creed 130 years later. They didn't solve the enigma, friends. The paradox still stands. All they did was hand us some really bad math. It sounds like this: 1 + 1 = 1, or 3 = 1. It's terrible math. And they asked us to close our eyes and accept it because they spoke with the authority of God. Friends, it's not easy. It will never be easy to understand how one thing, one person, one day can be more than one thing at a time. How can Jesus be God? How can loss be gain? How can gratitude and regret exist on the same day for the same person? Friends, how can sadness and joy coexist in the same body at the same time, at the same moment? I'm describing Mother's Day to you, how I carry it in my body. How can these things be true at the same time? Well, perhaps I'll torture you with my paraphrase of this little section. Sometimes when I get so obsessed with a passage, I just translate it myself. I go through and I put the words the way I think they make most sense to me. This is in the New Perverted Version if you're looking it up online. It's actually not online. It probably actually is, but just hear these words. This is the exchange. They just left the Last Supper, as John tells it. He's gathered with his friends, and he's trying to help them understand the continuum that will be life that crosses both sides of death. So he tells them, don't be so worried. I know this is a lot, but hang on to your thoughts about the divine. Just make sure that I and what happens to me next fit within that notion. I'm going first to show you that there's room enough in love for all of you to feel safe and at ease. So watch me as I go, so that when your time comes to pass over, you'll know that we'll be together on the other side. You guys know how this works. You've been following my example for years now. To which Thomas says, hang on, what's all of this crossing over? Where are you actually going, and how will we know the way? Missing the metaphor altogether, Jesus reminds Thomas, I am the way you're looking for. It's true. Life exists on both sides. This is all you need to know. It's the only way to understand life. God and I are not separate. To know me is to know God. Stop dividing what belongs together. Philip tries to help out by rephrasing the question. Bro, just show us God and we'll stop this whole conversation. We'll stop being scared of where you're going next. To which Jesus says, oh, Philip, always the straight shooter of the lot. This is what I've been doing since we met. I've been showing you God. Look at me, Philip. You're looking at God. Your demand is almost hurtful after all these years. For real, guys, listen closely now. It's God. Is God not in me? In the things you've watched me do these 3 years? I'm not making these words up. They're not even mine. I'm repeating what I hear God whispering to me on the inside. We're one and the same, God and I, Jesus says. And if you can't get your head around that, then just remember the things you've seen me do. Believe what you've seen until it takes root in your heart. The truth is, if you can believe that God and I are one, then you'll do even greater things than you've seen me do, because my time is almost up. I'm crossing over, and you guys aren't quite yet. You have more time. All you have to do is ask. Anything you ask for that illustrates the way humanity and divinity are one and the same, the way God and I are one. Anything you ask along those lines, your request will be granted. Everything will come together if what you truly want is the integration that I've modeled for you. Okay, friends, here's the summary. Your spiritual work never has been and never will be to get to heaven. It isn't even to avoid hell. It's to integrate heaven and earth here, now. The work of the disciples, as well as ours during the Great 50 Days or Eastertide, is to make room for life on both sides of death, to fully embrace the enigma and paradox of real life, which is such a fun reminder on days like today when celebrating and carrying the puzzle of motherhood is our immediate work. So whether you are a biological mother, a new mother, a grandmother, a great-grandmother, an adopted mom, an aunt, or a foster mom, we celebrate you. You may be a stepmom, a single mom, a bonus mom, a mother-in-law, a married mom, a widowed mom, a queer mom, a trans mom, a divorced mom, or even an estranged mom. Still, friends, we celebrate you. You may be an empty nest mom, an expectant mom, a mother after loss, a bereaved mother of adult children, or a person struggling with infertility. All the same, we celebrate you today. Perhaps you're a mom in the adoption wait process, a person hoping science will deliver, a spiritual mother, a surrogate mother, a woman who relinquished children to adoption, a guardian or a kinship mother. We celebrate the ways you give life and the ways you nurture life today. Maybe you're raising grandchildren or family members or kids with disabilities or prodigals who farewelled you or kids who struggle with addiction or children who are incarcerated or children who serve in the armed forces. Friends, we honor you today. Maybe you're the mother of a child who died in a war or at the hand of violence. Perhaps your relationship with your kids is complicated, or your own mother is difficult, and you're grieving your mother's passing. We celebrate you today too. Perhaps you serve others like a mother, or you're a church mother, or someone who nurtures and gives life to the poor, the immigrant, the unwell, and the forgotten. We celebrate all of that as well today. Maybe it's always been your dream to mother, but life hasn't unfolded that way for you. Or maybe you never wanted to mother, but you created that life anyway, and now you're out of touch with how you can connect to it all. Maybe, friends, you're the mother who's struggling to love the children you have. We celebrate you today. This morning, we honor not only the moms who hold and nurture children, but the people who have created life, created love, shaped life, longed for life, grieved life, and poured their own life into others. Those are all valid and honor-deserving ways of giving and nurturing life, and we celebrate that all today. We don't idealize or elevate a single way of being a mother or anything for that matter. We celebrate all stories in this little house. We're all trying to make sense of a complex world. And this final thought for you. Rather than hoping your mom will go back and remother you in the ways that you so desperately need, friends, consider doing that for yourself. Take that burden off your mom today, release her, and learn to mother yourself. And as you do, just know that it will never be all sad or all happy, all brokenness or all wholeness, all life or all death. It will always be all of that, all at once. Come on, Mark. I should really count the conclusions and final words to give him a heads up.
This will look different in the morning, held in the light of day. wanting, others get taken away. It's hard to feel strong in these moments. It's hard to know what we can take. Sometimes you carry on hoping, others your spirit can break. So sleep now, let yourself find some release now. Forget your courage and breathe out. Just for now, just for now, just for now. In every moment that passes, there is a changing tide. The love that survives through the ashes has always been waiting to rise. If you can see through the darkness, if you can feel through the hurt, all of the light will be ready, and all that you need will return. So sleep now, let yourself find some release now. Forget your courage and breathe out. Just for now, just for now, just for now. And just know times flow. Love carries all of us home, and I'm with you wherever you go. So sleep now, let yourself find some release now. Forget your courage and breathe out. Just for now, just for now, just for now. Love carries all of us home. Love carries all of us home. Love carries all of us, carries all of us, carries all of us. Love carries all of us home. Love carries all of us home. Love carries all of us, carries all us, carries all of us. Love carries all of us home. Love carries all of us home. Love carries all of us, carries all of us, carries all of us. Love carries all of us home. Love carries all of us home. Love carries all of us, carries all of us, carries all of us.
Join me on your feet if you're able. Oh, I'm always looking for the perfect way to summarize something big, and I don't think it gets tighter than love carries all of us home. Take back all your preaching that presupposes a worldview, even a pantheon of particularly named deities. Take it all back and just preach to the world with your life that love carries all of us home. You know what that removes? It removes the urgency to convince you that I'm the most right. Let it go. Love carries all of us home. I say this all the time because you guys literally ask me, where does that song come from? Friends, that's a songwriter from Canada. His name is Luca Fogale, Fogale. He's writing the most spiritual music in the game right now, and he doesn't even know it. I love that so much. Love carries us home, and if there's going to be a home, and if you're at all nurturing, there's going to be a table. My wife, who's Italian, likes to say, food is love. I'm like, why do you serve me plates that I can't see over? Like, I couldn't eat that with 5 forks. She's like, because food is love. She's at home recovering from a very painful hand surgery. She played volleyball for Rice many years ago, and the NCAA got her body, gave her a degree, and she's home cooking. I promise you right now, I promise you she's cooking, because I'm going to go home in a minute. Love, food is love, which might be why when Jesus had to get their attention hours before he hung from a wooden stake, he fed them. He gathered them in a borrowed space. And someone had to raise the money for the food. I don't think it was Jesus. I think it was Joanna, the wife of Pontius Pilate. That's just my theory. Subsidizing so he could train these people to sort of teach this message to the world. He gathers them around a table because love is food, and food is love. And he lifted bread to heaven, and he broke it. And he passed it around, and they all ate from the same loaf, for all the metaphor that packs in. And they all drank from the same cup, and all the germaphobes had to go to the other side of the photo. You know, the selfie they took in Italy. Everybody on the same side of the table. You guys, that's not even funny. It's actually quite funny. I don't think there were just 13 people there. There was a lot more than that. But we got to move the women out, see, because we can't give them a word. They'd be witches if we gave them a word. So it took us 21 centuries to move them back. But be at ease, if you're able, with the complexity of a day like today. If you're a mom, let yourself be celebrated. Own your mistakes. You weren't expected to be perfect. Think of this invitation. Literally put skin on bones and send it out into the world and let it go. You realize how difficult it is to be a mom? I'm not sure anything is any more difficult than that. Own where you dropped the ball, but love wholeheartedly. Put judgment away just for the next 300 years or so. Enjoy the parts of the day you can enjoy, and sit at a table with some ugly guests like sadness and depression and disease and loss. Sit at the same table with them today too. They belong too. You see, that's just it. It all goes, doesn't it? It all belongs. So at the end of this little liturgy we're going to do, you know how it works. Approach the glass. There's a little cracker. It's gluten-free. Dip it in the cup and take it back. And it's so simple. It's almost silly, except it's not, because when Jesus said, every time you gather to remember what you have lived and seen with me, when you gather, do this. Do what? Break bread and remind yourselves. You see, spirituality can never rule out the body. You can never be saved in thoughts and a hellion on earth. Your body cannot be evil while your head and your spirit are saved, because the Eucharist is the way we feed our body to do the work, the fully integrated spiritual work of the world. I don't know how Christianity got that so wrong for so many centuries, but that's a sermon for a different day. He gathers them at a table and he feeds them. He doesn't take them to the temple and say, believe this. He doesn't say, let's go sacrifice this thing. Let's atone for this thing. He sits them at a table and he says, eat. The most profound spiritual exchange you'll ever do. So that's what we're going to do. Let me say these words, and you'll know when the words come on the screen for you to read along. Almighty God, to whom all hearts are open and all desires are known, where could we hide from your love? Remind us in this very instant, on an awkward day like this, remind us of our cleansing, which is a completed work by your Spirit, nothing left undone, that in response we may perfectly love you as you perfectly love us through Christ. And Christ, our example and friend, the one who advocates for us, the one, dare I say, who mothers our weak spots, invites each of us to a place at a common table, saying, just come and sit and eat, let me feed you, a place that will only ever have been set for you. So as you wholeheartedly seek to live and walk in love and peace and justice and the good hard work of advocacy with your broken parts, with your whole parts, with the people around you, with society at large, let us now in so doing turn our hearts completely to God with these words. Pray them with me. Merciful God, We believe that you accept our heartfelt confessions today. Knowing you to be gentle and kind even when we are not, we confess. We have been distracted, at times lacking in love. We have failed to love our neighbor as ourselves because we have failed to love ourselves as you do. So forgive us, we pray, and free us to be a people of peace through Jesus Christ our Lord. And he lifted bread and he broke it and he passed it around, and they all were expected to eat it, and then he passed the cup and he sealed the contract. Say these words with me as we approach the table. Pray them. Our Father and Mother who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Take heart, take heart. He is overcome the world. Take heart, take heart.
I'm back. Hi. It's me, Amy. So sorry for my voice today, by the way. It's like allergies are so rough. Okay. This is very serious. Okay. I see it in community, in dancing, in music, in tears, in all of creation. That feeling some know not so well, but when it's present, it swells, filling the deep well within our hearts until it quenches every pore of stone, leaching into the earth, nourishing all in and around it, dissolving grief and shame, healing fractures, pulling fragments together to make us whole, to make us new, regenerating, reinvigorating, redeeming, and beaming with that feeling some know not so well, beaming as joy swells. Because joy connects us and love leads us home. Go in peace.